You know, I, in my opinion, I don't feel like I have very many friends or female relationships or friends. Have you? I have more work acquaintances, and those they're more positive over there, and that's I could consider those people that I could talk to. I've really never developed friendships, but I have family relationships. My two daughters, I love them. They don't necessarily have to be a positive 100% of the time relationships. I you know, when I was in uh, middle school, I was trying to pray to have friends. They had to be in my ward, in my church. They had to be all these things. Well, maybe God wants me to love more than just a few people. And, you know, I just never made those type of connections that are lasting. And honestly, family is more lasting than friendships. And even if you can sit and categorize every single friendship, I don't think it'll always stay that way like you would like to have them. And even family relationships drift apart as well as friendships. And in my point of view, maybe some people do get along. In my workplace, there are people who I get along with a lot better than others. If somebody's going to say unkind things or put me down at everything I say, I don't mind feedback, but if you're going to sound angry about it, I don't like that. But if I get someone who I can work with at work, who when I tell them to do something, they'll go and do it, or they're able to shift from one place or the other. I try to be kind to all of them. I've realized that I do make mistakes and uh, goof up at work. I would consider uh, where I work a place where I can develop friendships, even though there may not be close friendships, but people, when I see them at Walmart or whatever, they say, well, you made me laugh. I like that, but I might not in their personal life go along with some of the habits they do. Because I'm not, I don't drink alcohol, so, and I would never want to, and I don't get into you know, negative habits, use stuff that would be considered really unhealthy, like smoking cigarettes or I I I don't swear that much either, and I don't listen to rap music, but I do like listening to pop music, you know, just because I'm trying to find some music that gets me up and going on and moving a little faster. But just because I know somebody that drinks alcohol or does the vaping thing at work, I can deal with them there, but in another place, I wouldn't want them to encourage me to do those unhealthy habits that I think is unhealthy. But I am somewhat of a sweet tooth, and that's my downfall, because it's convenient. That's why I'm a sweet tooth. It's convenient and addicting. You know, if fruit and veggies were more convenient, it'd probably be a whole lot easier to want to eat that stuff. And I did exercise a lot when I was younger, as a teenager. I ran track and cross country. Um, you know, and I would run on my own. I did road races. My faster times, I only remember two. My mile time was 6:03 mile time, and my 2 mile time was 12:40. The junior high time was 6:03. I might have been faster than that. I don't know. And then I ran everything from 400 meters to a half a marathon, and I even did a marathon type distance. If you saw my legs, they look muscular. The bottom half of my legs, they're very muscular because I did a lot of running. And people say, well, that doesn't give you muscle. Running doesn't give you muscle. I would say they're full of bull pucky, you know. It strengthens your legs. It does, but it doesn't strengthen the upper body part. To put it more accurate in that sense. And I remember when I was in track, we did interval workouts, and we would do 3-mile runs for, like, when we do cross country. Intervals are supposed to help us speed up. And then I remember my coach, she sat me down and she says, okay, what do you want to have your goal for the 2-mile? And maybe mine was a little more unrealistic. Back then it was probably more of a realistic goal would be 13 and or under. And one year I did make it to state, so that was an accomplishment for the 2 miles. So that wasn't too bad. And I could do that. And I began the running thing because of my dad. My dad was running road races. He wasn't a particularly fast runner or anything. I just wanted to be with my dad. That's all. Now, I don't have exercise buddies or people to exercise with necessarily that want to, you know. My son's taken an interest in, and he ran cross country and track, and I'm way too slow for him. And then I also had my daughter run a race with me, and then I ran another race, and she just wanted to be with mom. She didn't want to run, she wanted to walk instead, and I went ahead of her, and boy, that was the wrong thing to do. She wanted to be with mom. She didn't want to run, she just wanted to be with mother. So she hasn't touched on that, so she's more into the music thing. She plays the flute and the, what do they call it? Saxophone. She plays the saxophone. We didn't force her into it, it's just something she likes. And same with my son, who ran track and cross country, just like the people that was in there. He tried wrestling, he didn't like that very well. They were big-headed jogs. Thought they were, you know, he didn't like that, so he didn't do the wrestling thing. But the cross country people and the track people, he liked with them. I also tried to be a walk-on at Weber State with cross country, and I hung around for that season. But and the guy said, he said to me, well, you're not going to get a scholarship. It really bothered me, so I decided not to. Then I get a grant, and after that, and I was able to work in a library. That's my experience with running. That was more of my strength, and I've ran miles and miles and miles. I've ran up hills, down hills, over bells, on dirt roads, on on regular roads, cross streets. Uphills, downhills. Sprinted, slow. Now I'm just like, 17, 18-minute mile. Well, right now I've been pretty lazy, like I said, but I remember it was in the military, the way they did when I was in the military. They had PT in the mornings, and they would alternate between, Monday was running, Tuesday was calisthenics, Wednesday running, Thursday calisthenics, something like that. Anyway, that's how they did in the military. They would alternate between, running. But it was easy in the military. If I'm repeating stuff over in these things, fine. I just, yeah. A lot of times when I deal with people, especially people I don't normally deal with, there's a conversation, the good for, the little angel side and the little devil on the side speaking to you. Oh, I really would like to have this friendship. On the other side is, no, there's no way. They're prettier. They're more intelligent. These two sides are in. I'm not surprised if they're in either one of them. And which of these sides we start to believe is what we become. Yeah. And, it's like a tug of war going on with the good and evil that is in our minds. And hopefully the good part will win, because we don't want to go into a negative place. And sometimes listening to a podcast sometimes helps the good side to go better, because it's something we never thought of or heard of before, and it helps. It can help. Where sometimes, like myself, I could be way too sensitive to hear it from an actual human being, and wouldn't ever want to talk to him again and say anything or the like. So that's letting the negative side, share. It's like the two are battling it out. Which one are you? And can you maintain the good side? How do you maintain it? How do you keep it there? Anyway, and I've also noticed that with running, when I was doing exercise, what I was thinking inside my head when I was doing at state 2 miles at state, what was going on in my mind when I didn't do well. This is something I'd like to share with people out there. I was expected to do well at state, right? And then I thought, for a moment, well, in practices, I'm always doing really well in practices, so maybe I can do that. And I went out really fast, and then, okay, my thinking started getting to me. Oh, I'm starting to hurt. Maybe I can slow down. And so, really wasn't hurting that much. And so I allowed that negative stuff to just stay. Where sometimes when I was practicing, I noticed this perhaps later on, practicing and saying, okay, telling myself I can do a little bit better than my own best self. And that's all anybody can really do, like just a few seconds than what you had from your personal best at that time, and physical strength, and that you can realistically do that. I'm not saying you have to be 100% all the time, because that's not realistic for anybody. We have these physical bodies that are subject to physical disability breakdowns, things that, sometimes you just have to forgive people, because even your best friends, you can't always rely on them being up all the time. And, they might turn into the people that you didn't think they would ever turn into. But what kind of a friend are you when you do that? That means you're trying to protect yourself, yes, but if they were a good friend for a long time, and all of a sudden something weird happens, there may be something going on in here, or a physical problem, or who knows what other problem is. But if they're someone who you really love and care about, you'll see that they could get help, in a way that you can deal with, because maybe you can't do that right now. Maybe you don't have the time or the room or the space to be able to deal with that type of relationship inside your mind or inside your head, because you don't understand that that's you, that could be you, the negative relationship or the positive relationship. What's one's man negative could be another man's positive too. So, and you could be sitting there categorizing someone in a certain way and be totally wrong about that person. What you say, what a person says, can be misrepresented or misinterpreted, and whatever. So I've lived long enough to think about some of these things, and know that happens sometimes. Sometimes people don't understand what you think that they understood too. So things can be complicated. Well, that's a little bit about me and the thoughts that go in my head. So I hope that who knows. I hope that some of this helped. I continue to try to do what I can. If I financially can do the stuff that I can to help, and then just relating and talking and speaking to people on a one-on-one basis, or in like a group basis maybe. Started going to church again. There's Zoom meetings for church, and also we have to wear masks. The speaker can take off their masks and talk, whoever speaks. And it's been just sacrament meeting, but Sunday school has been like a Zoom meeting, or we call it Relief Society. Relief Society is an organization that is supposed to help people. Generally, Relief Society, we have what's called ministering. It used to be visiting teaching, where we'd take a lesson, usually a religious topic, and teach it to them, summarize it. It'd come from Ensign. It was a church magazine we had. I hear they're changing it. And we would go to people's houses and talk to them about a lesson. Now we just talk to them. You don't have to worry about a lesson or anything, and ask them if there's anything they need help with. Generally, most people probably just like somebody to visit them. Maybe sometimes these relationships don't feel. Sometimes they don't feel real genuine, and like they're just in there to just do their church calling as a ministering person. Yeah, I would consider it a church calling. And, yeah, you can get stuff from people, you know, get information from people. And, when we did that, but, now it's been a little less, and we've been more with our families, which I think is okay. Anyway, enough of that. Well, hope you're doing well, and that's it for me.